So I want to add some privacy to this side of my front yard. However, my city, in their infinite wisdom, will not allow my fence to extend any further out than it is currently. However, apparently there is no rule against planting trees. So we went out and bought these emerald green arborvitaes, and we decided to plant them as an extension to the fence. Now I know it's completely possible just to grab a shovel, maybe a pickaxe, and dig a hole and throw these in them. But that's not what we're going to do today. Instead, we're going to use what some would call the overkill method. Just a few minutes later, and $270 lighter, I came home with this beauty. This is a Toro Dingo, and I have a 24-inch auger attachment. The first task, however, is to get this thing off the trailer, which sounds a little easier than it is. You'll notice as I come to the edge of the ramps, I do a little bit of adjusting to the arm. This was a critical step, as it definitely prevented the machine from tipping over. Now, before we can start digging, we have to make sure that we get our holes in the right place. So I put up this string line to give me a line even with the fence. Then what I had to do is come over to the trees, and I kind of determined that they're about 12 inches wide. So then what I did is I came across that string line and I measured in that 12 inches because I want the outside of the tree to be in a straight line with that fence, not necessarily the tree trunk itself. A little bit nerve-wracking to have the first hole of the day be right up against the fence, especially as I'm just getting used to using this machine. Decided that it would be best to take it nice and slow. Just taking a few minutes here to get myself familiar with the controls and make sure I know exactly what I'm doing before I get started. With very little effort at all, the machine started to dig itself into the ground before we quickly found the first root of the day. After some deliberation, the decision was made to back it out just a little bit before giving it another go. With no margin of error up against the fence, decided to keep it slow and steady. You can see right here, the Dingo did a great job of breaking up this first fairly significant root. With more and more of the dirt out of the way, it was grinding up the roots, but you could see it wants to keep jumping towards the fence, which made me more than a little nervous. However, it was not long and we were on to the second hole, which gave us a little bit of breathing room away from that fence and made the process a whole lot easier. We did, however, keep hitting several significant roots that would end up being 3 to 4 inches in diameter off this tree. I found that there was just no way to go fast during this process with these roots. Up and down a few times and we made progress. Once we got away from that tree, the process was a whole lot easier and simpler, and I did come up with a little trick to help clean out the holes, which I'll show you in just a moment. Without those significant roots, it really was just a matter of letting the machine do the work and quickly dig out the hole. And the little trick I learned is if I articulate the arm, I can actually clean out the hole and kind of extend and make this almost into a trench between the two holes. And in the process, that pulled up any of those little roots that were in the way. Once we had all the holes dug, I did go back and just kind of clean them out a little bit to try to make sure I broke those roots out as much as possible. Despite redigging them out, there was still some hand digging required, especially around the fence in that tree. With all that dirt now removed, decided it was time to jump back in the truck, this time on my way to pick up a little topsoil to put in these holes. It's always nice when they don't hit the truck. Once we had the topsoil, it was just a matter of putting those trees up against that line that I had along the fence to keep them in a straight line. And then the whole family jumped in, grabbing shovels of dirt to put around these trees along with some fertilizer. At this point in the day, I was happy to get all the help I could get. And here's the finished product. Went ahead and threw some straw along the grass to help try to keep the moisture in as these take root. They're small now, but hopefully in a few years they'll add significant privacy. I am happy with the straight line that we were able to maintain coming off that fence line.